Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're going to look at the last week and a half of the month of January, the astrology, as part of the Astrology Kabbalah of January. It's been a very active month astrologically. We started the month off and the year off with a new moon in Capricorn. We had a very powerful full moon in Cancer, with the Cancer moon opposing the newly conjuncted Sun and Pluto. We had a Mercury retrograde occur, and we've had Venus retrograde for so far all of January in the sign of Capricorn. And so this is a very a very important time where we really sort of focus on our place in the world, what we want to create in the world, what's our purpose, and not just our own personal purpose, but how it connects with the bigger picture and the bigger world. Capricorn really is an archetype about sort of being out there, and then the sun moving into Aquarius. We come to realize we're not out there alone, but there are groups of us and people who have similar ideas and vibrate at a similar frequency. And so that Aquarius energy helps us to vibrate, as it were, to in concert or in alignment with those who are vibrating at the same frequency. It's more evident in a way, more obvious at this time. So let's take a look at the last week and a half. I'm going to share my screen here and start the slideshow. Okay. All right, so we're looking at the week of January 23rd to 31st. And we start with the Sunday, January 23rd, an inferior conjunction between the Sun and Mercury. This is the Sun-Mercury conjunction when Mercury is retrograde. So astronomically, the Mercury sits between the Sun and the Earth, and so it's the closest pass of Mercury to the Earth, and this occurs when Mercury is retrograde. Generally, Mercury is retrograde 3 times a year. Now, this series of Mercury retrogrades this year, I believe they all start in air and they dip into Earth, and then out of air. So we have this rethinking, reimagining, going over our ideas, our thoughts, right? Air, on how to impress the physical plane, Earth. Now, this particular conjunction, the highlight of this particular Mercury retrograde cycle, which began on, I believe it was the 14th of January, is at 4 degrees of Aquarius. So I like to look at the Sabian symbols for these degrees. It says a Hindu yogi demonstrates his healing powers, the disciplined use of spiritual energies in restoring the natural harmony, disturbed by man's inharmonic attempts to transcend nature through mind, right? So we have an idea, we're going to bend nature to our will. Well, yes, we can do that, but it is a kind of a losing battle. Somebody's going to lose from that. This is talking to us about connecting with the power of nature through our own physical vehicle. And I honestly believe that the way forward for humanity is to get in a better relationship with Mother Earth and work with Mother Earth. And I think that a lot of the climate stuff will actually be mitigated through our ability to energetically connect with planet Earth. We are part of planet Earth. So it's not just us going through this evolutionary process, but it's the Earth going through its evolutionary process as well. On Monday, the 24th, we have Mars ingress into Capricorn. Now, Mars is exalted in Capricorn and likes being in Capricorn. Mars is the energy of forward motion, and in Capricorn, we have structure. And it's as if the energy of Mars moves through the structure that Capricorn has built. And so things that have been built to sort of press the power of government or of countries, the energy is there. And so this is a very tenuous time for things like wars to start and incursions, okay? The fact that it occurs on a day, January 24th, that vibrates to a 31-4, this is a vibration found on the Tree of Life in a place called Gabura. Gabura is the Sephiroth of Mars. And so we have Mars exalted, vibrating in the energy of Gabura, the place of instant karma. And so we need to be very careful with the words and actions during this period of time when Mars is in Capricorn. And that's January 24th through March 6th. Now that includes us as human beings and also countries, you know, as collectives of human beings. And we can see here, where is it here? Where is Mars? Mars moving into Capricorn. Where are you, Mars? Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, here he is, right here. Mars moving into Capricorn. And we still have quite a bit of Capricorn energy in the sky with Vesta in Capricorn, of course, Venus retrograde in Capricorn. Juno, the goddess of relationship, conjunct, very close conjunction to Pluto here. You know, Juno is about relationship and working within relationship and sort of a power sharing kind of idea. And so it can actually help us, I think, to come to a more balanced perspective of power and how we're going to wield that power, both personally and collectively. And so I feel like there's a better chance of things like diplomacy actually working with in these situations. Or perhaps I would just like to think so. We do have the moon, not that the moon is necessarily connected to Mars moving into Capricorn, but we do have the moon in Libra. And so as the Mars moves into Capricorn, the energy of the collective, because the moon in a mundane chart is the people, is the people really want peace. The people don't want, people are tired of war. People want peace. People want the fighting to end, whether it's fighting over you know, something like in like just in your neighborhood, in your family, politically, or when we're dealing with countries like the Ukraine and Belarus and Kazakhstan and all of this like tumult that's going on in that area of the world. And then of course China and Taiwan and China and Hong Kong and all of this sort of, you know, pushing people around kind of energy. And then of course in our country, although as far as I know, we're not involved in a particular scuffle. You know, we've gotten out of Afghanistan, we've gotten, I guess, out of Iraq. Are we still in Syria? I don't know. But I'm sure there's, but we're all over the world anyway. So we've got our hands in a lot of pots. So it's not like we're out of this game, of course. And then we're dealing with this whole Ukraine situation. Okay, Monday the 25th, we have Mercury moving back into Capricorn. And on the same day, we have the last quarter moon. And now this last quarter moon, 3/4 around the sun-moon relationship, the monthly lunation cycle. This is a crisis in consciousness. And we go back to that new moon in Capricorn at 13 degrees of Capricorn. what seeds were planted at that time. Um, so the moon is at 6 of Scorpio. The sun is at 6 of Aquarius. This last quarter moon is questioning authority and moving in a more individuated and progressive direction. And when we're dealing with Scorpio and Aquarius, we're dealing with shared resources, Scorpio and Aquarius, the distribution of those resources. And we're sort of at a crossroads here. And of course, here in the United States, we're trying to get legislation passed for voting rights. And then there's going to be the whole Build Back Better, if we can get any of that, done. Any of the social programs that need to happen, any of the debt relief that needs to happen, whatever it is that needs to happen. There's a lot of energy for that, but whether or not it's going to be successful, of course, is another question. There's a lot of obstruction, both from, in the case of the United States, from the Republicans and a couple of the Democrats who might as well be Republicans, right? So there's that. So that is going to continue in earnest. 6 degrees of Scorpio, the gold rush tears men away from their native soil, the passionate search for new values, which at any level promise a more abundant life. So maybe the grass is greener on the other side kind of idea. And then the Sabian symbol for 6 of Aquarius, a masked figure performs ritualistic acts in a mystery play, the individual involvement in long-established patterns of activity, aiming at the release of collective power. That's another sort of symbol that makes me just step back a little bit and wonder if we're going to get in a skirmish, any kind of political skirmish here. Okay. On Friday, the 28th, Mercury retrograde makes a conjunction to Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn. What makes this specific, and we can see here, we have Mercury retrograde conjunct Capricorn. We have Juno right there as well. And this is all trining the north node of the moon, where we have Ceres in a close conjunction. In fact, at the end of the month, the last thing that happens this month is Ceres makes a conjunction to the north node of the moon. The energy of Ceres is one of reaping what we've sown. And so I guess we could say, if you have been diligent and sort of attempting to live your purpose, you will reap the rewards of that. You will reap the rewards of that. So we have this Mercury retrograde. It's actually the second of 3. The first one occurred at the end of 2021. It was December 30th at 26 degrees of Capricorn. This one occurring at 27 degrees of Capricorn with Mercury retrograde. And then the last one will happen when Mercury is direct again on February 11th, 2022 at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And that particular 28 degrees of Capricorn is the place where the United States has its Pluto. So a lot of this end of the year, and then January, and then again in February, back and forth between Mercury and Pluto. On the Pluto of the United States, there is a moving around of that Pluto in Capricorn in the second house, if we use the Sibley chart. Pluto in Capricorn can be the military industrial complex. It could be the prison industrial complex. It is something that we need to, or policing, the militarization of the police. It's very, it's looking, the United States is looking more and more like a police state. And we have to decide if that's what we want to be, or do we want to be a place of opportunity for justice and for the rule of law and for what is right and true and individual liberties and the like. So, the United States is going through its Pluto return. And so all of these things are up for evaluation. in a way up for grabs, and what we're going to do with it depends a lot on how we face the present moment, how we face the present moment. The interesting thing about this last Mercury direct, Mercury conjunct Pluto direct, is it's happening in a 19-1 on a day of vibrationally of 19-1. That's the sun card in the tarot. And when you see that in a numerology chart, it often means making a decision to move in a totally new direction. So we'll see what that means. We'll see what that means. Saturday the 29th, we have Venus stationing direct. Woo woo, Venus finally goes direct. Venus has been in Capricorn since the end of October, was it? Went retrograde in December. Retrograde, I think, for 42 days, and now it is going direct. It is at 11 degrees, 4 minutes of Capricorn. The Sabian symbol for 12 degrees of Capricorn is an illustrated lecture on the natural science reveals little known aspects of life, the ability to explore unfamiliar realms and discover the laws underlying the complex processes of nature. This is sort of a scientific exploration of nature. And, up to this point, perhaps we have been utilizing our study of nature in order to extract what we need from nature, as opposed to working in concert with nature. And I think that's the change that needs to happen. And, hopefully that's part of the process of the Venus retrograde cycle in Capricorn, because Capricorn really is an energy of government. And so if we can rethink the way we govern and rethink the way that we have, or what we feel like we have dominion over the earth, instead of feeling like we need to dominate the earth, but we need to take the energy of the earth and resonate within our own hearts a better relationship with the planet. And I think that is really the way forward, honestly, in my estimation. But I doubt if anybody who's a power broker is listening to me. But maybe, you never know. Sunday, January 3rd, we have the sun making a last quarter square to Uranus. Uranus, of course, is the out of the box, rebellious energy, rug gets pulled out from under you energy. This part of the cycle is a crisis in consciousness. It is the start of the individuation process, which is really what Uranus is all about. The real rebel rears its head at this time. We have the Sabian symbol at 11 degrees of Aquarius. That's where the sun is. And we have, during the silent hour, a man receives new inspiration, which may change his life. The need to rely upon inner inspiration and guidance to start new developments. Squaring that 11 degree of Taurus, which where Uranus is, which we've actually, if you follow me, we've talked about this before, because it keeps coming up. That 11th degree of Taurus is very, very active. And it's a woman watering flowers in her garden, development of the powers of the mind on which ego consciousness is based. And so it's about being open to the promptings of spirit, but in a sort of challenging aspect to what it is that you're planting in your garden. What are you watering? What ideas, what thoughts, what feelings, what actions are being nurtured through this process? And as we look at those actions, how does that align with our need to live on planet Earth with other people? A lot of the COVID stuff has really caused many of us to isolate, sort of in place, to put us in almost back in 2020 we called it, or I called it, what do you call that, when they sort of suspended animation. There was a suspended animation quality. 2021, we had this trying to sort of push ourselves out of this expanded this sense of, sort of being just like stuck. Um, and we were in a 5 year. And so 5 year is about freedom. It is about sort of pushing the boundaries. But the 6 year, which is what we're in now, is about cooperation and community and responsibility. And so we have to be responsible at this time. And the more responsible we are for ourselves, the more responsible we are for what we're putting out there, the more mindfulness that we have, the better off we're going to be. And so if there's anything that we really need to practice in the year of 2022 is mindfulness and an awareness of where we can work with others to make the world a better place. Okay, so that's it. All right, so there's still some stuff going. Remember the last thing, actually, if it's the 31st, but it could be the 30th, we have Ceres conjunct the North Node. Something will be reaped. Something will be reaped. And if you've done your due diligence, you will see it. And if you haven't done your due diligence, you'll still see it. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe. The Astrology and Kabbalah of February is coming soon, probably today or tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And then, of course, the tarot scopes for February 2022. As always, much love to you all. Namaste. Much love, everyone. Take care of yourself.